Welcome once again back to the lab. It is your old Professor Pilk, and we need to have a discussion about this Eevee raid that's incoming tonight. Now, this has been one of the easier ones, I think, really to prepare for, because as you can see over here, the stats really aren't that great on this mon, and there's not a lot you really need to prepare for. Eevee's pretty simple. There's not a lot here. It is going to be a normal type, or he? I think Eevee's mostly male, actually. Eevee is going to be a normal type. Your basic stuff is going to pretty much be evident here. So if we're going to end here, immune to ghost, weak to fighting, everything else is pretty much just kind of damaged normally. So you really do want to pick a fighting unit. Now, while we were going through this, I really did kind of think to myself, I'm like, what fairy moves are going to be available that are going to kind of negate any of the fighting mon that we bring to the table? And the honest answer here is nothing. Baby doll eyes and charm. That's kind of it. I don't even think there's any that are learned by, eggs or anything like that. It's pretty straightforward. By the way, shout out to Bulbapedia for all the hard work they put into these. I makes my life so much easier. Now, what are we pretty much looking at here? Well, there's initially 5 mon, but I'm actually going to negate one of those, and there's a very good reason. I'll start off with him. Annihilate was my first thought for this. Now, because Eevee is immune to ghost, it still isn't that bad of a choice, because what you do is you put a fighting Terra on him, use the Defiant ability, item Shell Bell, basically anything that Eevee has is going to pretty much just kind of be soaked up. It is a pretty bulky mon. Just use Bulk Up and Drain Punch, and if you really want like a killer finisher, just use Close Combat. Really easy, really straightforward. There's two real downsides to this. Number one, Eevee could have Bite, and that would hurt a lot, but more than that, Eevee has access to Shadow Ball. Eevee does not have to evolve to get Shadow Ball, and that could take Annihilate down quite a few pegs. Now, that would mean that you could, do some, EV training on Annihilate or put some mints or whatever into him. But I'll be honest with you, the other mon that we're going to talk about today, I don't think you even need that. So, Annihilate, but good choice. I just don't think the best choice. One of the more interesting choices here, one of the bigger additions to our, repertoire, is Conkeldurr. Conkeldurr is a mon that I've used in the cage matches. If you've watched those, I love this mon. Pure fighting, so there's not really much of a weakness here. Moves, you use Bulk Up, and then once again, Drain Punch and Close Combat. Ability Guts will absolutely, really any one of his abilities will be handy in any kind of situation. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of, status going around, but in the cases, any kind of negative status, Guts, or really any of Conkeldurr's abilities will help you out a lot. So that is a complete option. Conkeldurr essentially with the exact same build. Another really interesting build that we've used a lot, and I mean a lot, is Iron Hands. Iron Hands is a fighting electric type, but there's not really any electric weakness to, either way. It's really, you're just going to use a fighting Terra. You're going to use the ability Quark Drive, because it's the only ability really at your disposal. Once again, with all 5 of these, you're going to use Shell Bell. Moves, you're going to look very familiar. You're going to use Belly Drum. Basically, you're going to open up with, Body Press or Close Combat a couple of times. The only downside of Close Combat is it lowers your defensive stats. So it is, very much a, you want to reserve that for, finisher. But do, 3 body presses till you get Terra, then Belly Drum, and then body press to success. You're good to go. Or you can even Belly Drum right out of the gate and just start doing body press. But I honestly think Iron Hands is going to be the easiest one here. I think that's kind of a no-brainer run. I think this is easily the one that's going to be the most advantageous. But I didn't want to leave it there. If you are on Scarlet, but you don't have the ability to get the Paradox Mon from Violet, or you haven't gotten them yet, or whatever, you could always use Koraidon. Koraidon's a great choice here. Uses basic ability. He doesn't have any other abilities. Fighting Terra type. Shell Bell, and moves will be Sword Stance. Sword Stance will basically do that 3 times to get your attack up. And then Drain Punch to success. Close Combat if you want a really flashy finisher. Really easy. Really straightforward. Notice all these builds are almost identical. They're very, very, very close in nature. Finally, Lucario. And Lucario is literally a carbon copy. Ability inner focus. Well, once again, any of Lucario's abilities are going to be helpful here. Fighting type Terra, item Shell Bell. You'll use Swords Dance, Drain Punch, and once again, close combat if you just want a flashy finisher or you just need extra damage. Remember, close combat is a 120 base attack. It will lower your defensive stats, but I'm going to be honest with you. If you really look at Eevee's stats, let's take a look at Eevee's stats. I didn't really talk about those. I kind of feel like it's going to have partner Eevee stats, but even then, like attack 75, special attack 65. Really? No. The one caveat to this, all your mon will need to be level 100. If your mon are not leveled 100, you're going to get taken apart at the seams. That is a huge factor here. And the one thing I never talk about, but is always an option here, is Blissey. You can always bring Blissey to the table as a support Pokemon. So that's definitely a complete option. But even if speed 75 and physical defense 70, you're going to have no problems taking this Pokemon down. This is going to be one of the easiest, if not the single solitary, easiest 7-star that we've ever had. Now, let me throw this other option out there for you. Now, some people may not have this ability, but for me personally, one thing that I'm looking forward to in this, especially now that we have Pokemon Home and all that, I have a Mule account. And what I'm going to be doing, Mule account, my Scarlet account is really my Mule account. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be farming up one of each evolution. And then I'm going to be evolving them. So I will have one of every evolution, basically with the mightiest mark. So that's my personal goal going into this. And don't forget, we still have all the outbreaks and all that. We'll talk about all those a little bit later and what that means. But for now, the Eevee outbreaks will be starting tonight. The Eevee raids will be starting tonight. We'll be doing some of them live over the weekend, so make sure you guys stay tuned here. Make sure you guys subscribe. I'll be sending out alerts here on YouTube and on Twitter, so make sure you stay tuned to that. Links for everything are down below, and in the Discord as well. Links for all that is going to be down below. Like, comment, and share, and we will be back with more Pokemon Scarlet and Violet news coming up here for you guys really soon.